To a first show of the month, you watching Tipping Point. We seem to be getting used to frequent court rulings either stopping, continuing or prohibiting national processes. The recent being a court ruling prohibiting IEBC from ending their 30-day mass voter registration exercise. However, an addition of time still does not change the result, a missed target by a mile. Meanwhile, rallies are rocking the nation barely 10 months to general elections. But will the mass gatherings reflect when it comes to voting in the ballot? But be that as it may, did the president just warn Kenyans from electing thieves in the next government? Which thieves, Mr. President? Please name them. The rift between the president and his deputy is getting broader. The ruling party Jubilee is set to hold a national delegates conference. Reports indicate it could culminate to DP Ruto's ouster as a deputy party leader of Jubilee. We ask you no question of the day tonight. Can Jubilee Party oust DP Ruto as its deputy party leader? Can Jubilee Party oust DP Ruto as its deputy party leader? Send your feedback our way through our social media handles at Switch TV Kenya, a link on Ombogo, or SMSs on 111 and our One Kenya Alliance principles being coerced to back Raila Odinga in the State House race. Welcome to this special State of the Nation discussion. I am Lincoln Wumbago.
Tayari iliisha na wao ndio walimaliza.
So you can go to NEC, do the changes, remove us, we have already left.
Mnafukujaje mtu katika chama ambaye alitoka kitambo?
Tukasema ya Uhuru 10 ya Ruto, ya Uhuru 10 ya Ruto.
Tunawaambia wafunge murango ya Jubilee kwa sababu huko tulitoka.
Tulitembelewa na marafiki wengine hapo, sijui walikuja na mapepo, ile Jubilee ikaanza kuwa chama ya kisirani. Inafukuza huyu leo, inafukuza huyo kesho, inafukuza ule siku nyingine. Mwisho wale wako nje wamekuwa wengi kuliko wale wako ndani.
Joining us to have this discussion, we have the Secretary General of ANC Party, Simon Kamau. We also have an inspiring Member of Parliament for Bubasi and Youth Political Analyst, Gloria Roba. And finally, we are joined by aspiring Member of Parliament for Dagoretti North Constituency and lawyer, Nudin Kagai. Gloria, gentlemen, thank you for creating time. It's in public knowledge that there are plans to eject DP Ruto from Jubilee Party. Is it too little, too late? SG.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening, viewers. The process of removing a deputy president from office is a constitutional process. It's a very legal process, clearly provided for in our constitution, 2010. If you look at our constitution, from Article 131 all the way down to around Article 149, it's very clear how a deputy president can be removed from office. But on the threats or the statements by the Jubilee Party officials and members of Parliament on the intentions of ousting the DP from Jubilee Party is an all different process, because it's governed by the Jubilee Constitution, as well as a bit of the process could also find its procedure in the Political Parties Act. So I think then it's a matter of how the party will adhere to their constitution, and also if they want to take it forward. Because remember, they were elected on a single ticket, and that is why we refer to them as the executive. The executive comprises Office of the President, Office of the Deputy President, and the Cabinet Secretaries. So the fact that they are intertwined on running under a single ticket makes it quite a complex legal process to oust the DP from office of the Deputy President. Remember, under the new Constitution 2010, unlike the older Constitution whereby the President would nominate or appoint a Vice President at will, this time round we have a situation whereby they run under a single ticket, making it quite a complex legal process. So I think from where I sit as a lawyer, I would say that the statements by the Jubilee Party and the Jubilee members of Parliament threatening or commenting on their intention to oust the DP as the deputy party leader for Jubilee, it's possible, and they have to adhere to their constitution. The Jubilee Constitution.
It's not the first time we are seeing these threats. We've seen them before. Is it too little, too late?
Well, I wouldn't know, because remember, I don't speak for Jubilee. I'm not a member of Jubilee. But we can see that clearly there is an issue. There is a rift between the Jubilee party leader and the deputy party leader, who are also the president and the deputy president. As to whether it's late or not, I really wouldn't know, because it will all depend with what Jubilee wants to achieve.
Is it Jubilee versus Ruto, or is it the president versus his deputy?
Well, quite a hard question for me, because I wouldn't tell. I'm a member of the ANC.
Gloria.
That's a good question you asked. Is it Jubilee versus Ruto, or is it the president versus Ruto? It's actually everyone versus Ruto. You know, uniting so that they can defeat William Ruto. That is what it has been. All these coalitions, all these alliances, all this, any move that is being staged right now, even just when you're talking about removing William Ruto as the deputy or party leader of Jubilee. What are you going to gain? We are 7 months to the next general election. I mean, what are you going to gain? As my co-panelists have said, as the SG has said, it's a very complex process. Probably will take a minimum of 6 months. We only have 7 months to the next general election. So I would say, if they are going to attempt to do that, maybe it's just to distract him. You know, when you have a fast running, and you've seen this in videos, all these videos that we watch, you have someone who's very fast, and you know, you've seen this video where all the water has been aligned, the drinking water, and each and every runner is picking, the marathon runner, and the only thing that you can do to stop the person at the front is probably try and make sure they don't get the water. So I would say it's the same kind of strategy, because there's nothing they gain from actually removing him from Jubilee. As it stands now, he is officially in Jubilee, but everything else about him is UDA, including the fact that he's pushing for the new ideology. So I would say, first, they are running out of strategies. When I say they, those who are talking about removing William Ruto from Jubilee are running out of strategies. Second, if they remove William Ruto from Jubilee on paper, I wonder who else is going to remain on paper. As it is, it's a shell. It's like it's a dead party. And this is the sad thing about it, if you think about it. If our president, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, is actually going to engage in such shenanigans, you know, he will be remembered. This will be his legacy. His legacy will not be the Big Four agenda. His legacy will not be SGR or even the attempt at BBI. His legacy will be the president that wasted time dealing with party politics and trying to actually remove his deputy from a party that's already dead. Like William Ruto always says, and you've heard him, you know, we had a national party. It was Jubilee. It was a good outfit. We were out there, lakini ilipata ajali. Venye ilipata ajali, this is not the one that you can even salvage. This is not a vehicle that you can salvage and say we are going to sell as scrap. There's nothing here. So removing him is just probably trying to distract him, because he's so far out in his campaign that you actually want to catch up with him.
Do you agree with Gloria?
You see, first I'll start by telling you something a friend of mine tells me. That hii Kenya tutafika binguni kama tumechoka sana. Because kila siku ni sarakasi. You know, so at the end of the day, you see, removing him as a deputy party leader and removing him as a DP of the country are two different things. Because if they use their constitution as a party, they'll use the NDC, and they can do that because, you know, in Kenya, sad reality is that political parties are owned by individuals, and we are not at a place where we can call our parties institutions. So you find people form parties either to control the political landscape, or some are there to make money. Now, removing him as a DP is where the gist begins. Because if you check the constitution, sorry, that is Article 150, talks about the removal of the deputy president. Now, the removal is A, if there are issues of incapacity, mental or physical, or B, where the gist is through an impeachment. Now, if you look at William Ruto, physically, he's not challenged. Mentally, he's okay. So they have to use B. Now, B, they have to prove gross misconduct. They have to prove committed crimes. They also have to prove that he's not fit for office. So what do? Now, that is where they go back to the Constitution, Article 145. Now, 145, a member of the National Assembly has to go to Parliament, get a third of the members to move a motion. After that, 2/3 have to support the motion. Once the motion is supported, the Speaker of the National Assembly communicates the same to the Speaker of the Senate. Now, the Speaker of the Senate calls a meeting of the Senate. Once that is done, an 11-member committee is called, all right? Where the DP now, that committee does a report, and in 10 days, does an investigation, sorry, and in 10 days, it reverts back. Now, the DP, during the investigation period, will appear and be represented, because he also has to defend himself. If it goes that way, and 2/3 support the impeachment, then it is upheld. But now, look at the timing. Okay, you impeach William Ruto. Then what happens? Who do you put there? You realize? So at the end of the day, that's a sideshow that doesn't help anyone. That's why I'm saying, you ni sarakasi. Because at the end of the day, who does it help? As a Kenyan down there, if William Ruto is removed as deputy president, what in your life changes at the end of the day? So it is more or less like setting political scores or trying to show that this is my party. And that is sad reality. That's why I began by saying, parties in Kenya are owned by individuals. In that, if party leader X wakes up today and leaves that party, it is dead. You realize? So we need to move from that and form institutions so that they outlive. That is why we form, it's sad that we form parties to capture power. Then once we capture power, the coalition we made, and our politics is made of deceit and mistrust. So that is why some people forming coalitions now is becoming hard because of mistrust. So at the end of the day, we need a party that even if there comes a president and their term ends, the party survives. So that is when we'll start seeing the power of institutions. For us to get there, we have to move away from this issue of parties being owned by individuals, so that people settle political scores. Because what is happening to Ruto is he's actually being shown that I own this party, I do ABCD. And he says, for example, that kuna kisirani ilikuja, kuna wakora walikuja. And that is the problem.
Let's listen to what DP Ruto had to say about all this.
Wow. Tafadhali. Tuache blackmail, tuache threats, tuache intimidation, tuache kuuzia watu uoga. Wakenya wamekataa mambo ya blackmail, threats na kuuzia.
Amesema yeye hataki watu ya Kenya wachague mwizi na mkora. Na amefanya mzuri. Kwa sababu hatuwezi chagua mwizi kwa sababu mwizi ako kamiti amefungwa.
If there is anybody kama kuna mtu mwizi Kenya ambaye anataka kuwa kiongozi, Mr. President, you have the instruments of power. The National Intelligence Service falls under you.
SJ Gloria Nudin said that, if a party leader leaves a party, then the party is dead. What impact will the ouster of DP Ruto have on Jubilee?
First and foremost, we are giving too much premium on whatever is happening in Jubilee. And we are young people. And we know that some of us voted for Jubilee almost 3 times. Because remember, there was a repeat that was ordered by the Supreme Court. So we are giving these Jubilee shenanigans a lot of premium. Because this is a team of leaders that we gave a chance. We entrusted them with our lives and our future. And as much as they could have done 1 or 2 things, they also have their load of challenges and problems. And now they want to hold this country hostage, that everything stops, so that now we start discussing if this one is impeached and the other one is not impeached. And we know that their time is coming to an end. For me, I think our focus as young people must be what happens 2022 going forward. Because remember, this is going to be a transition. Uhuru Kenyatta is not going to run for president again. So we have a chance now to, again, go back to the ballot and give unto ourselves a leader that we feel would secure our interests, secure our future, and not just for those of us who are here today, but even for those who will come after us tomorrow. So for me, I think whatever is happening in Jubilee and is very sad. Because as Kagai put it, in Kenya we are having a challenge with our political parties. They are not ideologically founded. They are not ideologically founded or based. You find we have individuals who probably have the wealth or the financial muscle, so they can be able to put resources together, fund the structures of the party as required by the Office of the Register of Political Parties, and then everyone else who would want to participate in politics, including young people, you have now to fall into that trap. I think going forward, young people must start thinking about how do we merge ideology to these political parties. For example, if you go to developed democracies, say for example the USA, you find the main parties are the Democrats and the Republicans. And it's never about the party leader. It's never about the individuals. It's about what the party stands for. You find there are these ones, if you go to the UK, you have the Liberals and the Conservatives. So it's about where do I feel I would want to belong in terms of building our nation, participating in politics, participating in governance. When it comes to issues of, for example, if you ask Jubilee, for example, what is your position on environment? They don't have. What is your foreign policy? They don't have. We as ANC have a very clear roadmap of what we want under the leadership of Musalia Mudavadi. We are a party that is based on social democracy. We are a party that is based on making sure that we have an economy that works for everybody, inclusive growth. Okay? But if you asked these other people, they are just there because of a certain leader. And that is why His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi is very keen to make sure that within the party ranks, he is mentoring young people, he is giving young people a chance so that it's not about him. Okay? That's why he could get a person like myself and make me Secretary General of the party, because he would want the ideologies of the party, the beliefs of the party to outlive him and to go beyond his political career. Are you together? So the challenge we have with political parties is that they are based on individuals. Are you together? And we must congratulate KANU, because KANU as a party, if you look at KANU is an independence party. And KANU was founded on the ideology of bringing people together. By then they were fighting the white man. They wanted self-rule. They wanted self-governance. They wanted to acquire the land that the Mbeberu had, taken from our people. And up to now, you find that KANU still has very strong structures. Okay? If you come to TNA, what do they stand for? If you look at URP, what do they stand for? If you look today at Jubilee, what do they stand for? Same thing with all these other formations. So I want to encourage young people that let us also look beyond our leaders. Let us also put our interests in our participation. And the reason why personally I'm in ANC is because I feel the fact that ANC is advocating for social justice, economic liberalization, inclusive growth, I feel I would want to belong there. Why Lincoln? Why? Because I also want to participate. I also want to participate in economic growth. I also want to participate in governance and leadership.
We'll come to matters.
Can I ask?
We have less than a minute to go to a short commercial break. But SG will come to that, and ANC's role in One Kenya Alliance and why you cannot stand on your own. Gloria.
I really wanted to ask him, because he said the party has positions on certain issues and policies. I was going to pose the question, what is the party's position when it comes to matters tribalism? Because when you look at the leadership of ANC, you can actually have a PG, you can actually have a meeting with the leadership of ANC in one language. So it's very interesting that you can point out. But having said that, I do agree with him that young people actually need to get to a place where they are pushing ideologies. But, those spaces are limited. And while he has spent the time marketing ANC, which I actually think is an okay party, I think right now the only party that is actually speaking to the young people is the United Democratic Alliance, because that's the one that's actually pointing out the issues of the young people, acknowledging that young people exist in different sectors, including commercial sex, because these other people want to say they don't agree, alisema nini, but this is a fact. Young people are are in these spaces not because they want to be in those industries, but this is the party that actually also acknowledges that it's not just about throwing handouts and what, that the young people do not have jobs and, you know, these structures. So I don't think it's about an issue of ideologies, because all these political parties, if you sit here, someone from ODM, they will tell you about their ideologies. They will tell you that Baba is mentoring young people. And the only person we've seen in ODM within the circles of Baba is actually Babu Owino. I mean, if you ask me, this guy is allergic to young people. So we can always push narrative. But at the end of the day, right now, what we are actually concerned about is that as a young person, for instance, all of us, or at least the two of us, are vying. And when you come out to vie, there are so many things you're looking at. But you have to be in a political party. You can say that you can run as an independent.
It's not a must.
Yeah, like you said, you can go independent. We just talked about young people not having any funds to even start a political party. What funds are they going to have to go as an independent? You understand? So the reality on the ground is that as young people, whether we like it or not, we need to figure out which political party am I actually going to go into? And we don't have that control on that level of pushing policy. Not at the moment. At the moment, we're just trying to get into these positions so that we can have a little bit of salary in terms of this and that. And then we can start our political parties.
Gloria,
yeah.
Hold that thought right there.
Can I have my right of rebuttal?
You will have it after this commercial break. Nodin, you'll also tell us, can a ruling party stay without a deputy party leader who doubles up as a deputy president? We now take a short commercial break. The conversation continues shortly.
Honorable Musalia Mudavadi ameangaishwa kabisa. Paka ikakuja alipoenda Kakamega, machozi kamtoka, akasema I am being forced, being coerced kuunga mkono ule mzee wa kitendawili akuwe rais wa Kenya. Na Kalonzo rafiki yangu sana, jirani wetu, pia anaogopa kusema, lakini ameangaishwa usiku na mchana. Na nani anaangaisha hawa? Ni Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta na wale marafiki zake. Na tunawajua, wanajitanga deep state.
Welcome back to Tipping Point. The conversation continues. Joining me right here on the panel is Simon Kamau, INC Secretary General, Gloria Oroba, Youth Policy Analyst and aspiring Member of Parliament, and Nudin Kagai, aspiring Member of Parliament and lawyer. Before we get to you, SG, I want you to, you'll answer Gloria, then you will answer Aiden Dwale. But Nudin, you had something to tell the SG?
No,
he has nothing. So let me. He has nothing.
If you have nothing to tell the SG, then answer my question.
There was a question. There was a question.
Can a ruling party stay without a deputy party leader who doubles up as the deputy president?
In answer, I'll say something. We talked about it, and he said we're giving premium to Jubilee suckers for no reason. You see, there's no point in removing William Ruto as deputy party leader. It serves no end. It has no benefit. Nobody gains from it. If anything, it just shows how unkempt that house is. So, what we need to do, we need to talk about the parties that we have right now, and every party is saying what it is offering the Kenyans, right? Different parties. We have UDA, that is talking about bottom up. We have Raila Odinga, talking about Azimio. We have Oka, who said Omoka na Oka. Okay? So at the end of the day, we need to, because we are moving towards the election period. And we have young people who, first and foremost, haven't decided where they are voting. Some are not even voting. You know, it's actually sad. Let me say this. The other day, I was trying to get some people to register. And my heart bled when I heard young people say that, to what end? It actually serves me no purpose. That is when you realize that the moment you exclude yourself from this exercise, that is when you're out of it in totality. And the worst illiterate is the political literate. He hears nothing and sees nothing. I understand. They feel like they have been used and dumped. You know, the sad reality is our politics is that the youth are always, in every election period, they are ladders. They are seduced abused and misused. Now they've gotten to a point where some have lost hope. But that is the wrong agenda. I get where they're coming from, but they need to rise from the ashes. You realize that this country, they have the benefit of time. These spaces they are crying for, or we are crying for, those of us who actually want this space, will never be handed over to us. You have to fight for that. And if you think that table will be invited, you will not be invited. You have to go kick that table or turn it upside down. And it is never going to happen unless you participate in the political process. One, Gloria just said, you have to join a political party. Because you see, I'll tell you something. As a young person who has interest in politics, you see, politics is all about interest. Now, the interest is what is never defined. There's economic and there's political. Wherever you feel your interest is served, my friend, run there. If you feel the interest is in my brother's party, go there. If you feel it is in UDA, which most people feel safer there, go there. Because at the end of the day, whatever you're trying to achieve, it is easier while you're in a political party than independent. We just say you don't have funds. You realize? So at the end of the day, without participating in the political process, it is hard for you to actually want to come and seek a stake on the table. Because at the end of the day, you will spend your entire life on social media ranting, and nobody cares what you write. They never read even.
Did you just say that those who don't understand politics are the ones who are most abused and most misused?
The worst illiterate is the political illiterate. He or she sees nothing, he has nothing.
Now, in this case, let's take what Aiden Dwala just said.
Yeah.
This is not a political illiterate that we're talking about. We're talking about a political bigwig.
Yeah.
ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi feeling disgruntled. Noted, what do you have to say about that?
It's actually sad. You know, let me tell you something. It's actually sad when I hear the statement, because at the end of the day, if you are called for a meeting, all right, you have the reason, you have the decision to either go or not go. Now, when you go and then you come and bastardize the same meeting, you have a problem. If you feel me going to that hotel, the portion of food is smaller than that hotel, go to the other one. You get what I'm trying to say? All I'm trying to say is that they would offer, because right now we know it's either Raila or Ruto, all right? They would offer a very good challenge. That would be a third one for the voters to actually think about 3 different aspects in the 2022. But when you say we keep getting summoned, unless you're summoned with a gun on your head, but if you're summoned and you attend, then you can't come and cry foul again, because you have a problem. You have an option to go or not to go. You see, politics, in politics, let me tell you something. You have to have thick skin. Someone told me, "Sasa si mama yako." Nobody cares about you. The way you carry yourself really matters, all right? So if you feel I'm infringed in part X, don't go there.
Let's take a look at what ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi had to say about all this.
Tusikubali kamwe mtu kufikiri ataamua ni nani atakuwa MCA wako, mtu kufikiri ni nani atakuwa mjumbe wako, mtu kukaa na kufikiri atakuchagulia seneta, ama kukaa ati yeye ndio atakupatia rais. Wewe ndio utaamua ni nani atakuwa kiongozi wako.
Gloria, you've had what Nordin has said, you've had what Musalia Mudavadi has said, you've had what Aiden Dwala has said earlier. Ford Kenya, KANU, Wiper, ANC coming together to form One Kenya Alliance. Are they being coerced to support Raila Odinga?
Yeah, definitely they're being coerced. And you cannot even know whether they're being coerced or whether they are being intimidated. Or whether they are being, you understand, or whether they are being, now what you'd call team building. And the problem with this situation is we have One Kenya Alliance that has literally failed to actually just front a presidential candidate. Yeah? And that's the reason they've opened themselves up to, it's like this piece of meat that is available and we can keep trying, So at the end of the day, it's like, how difficult is it for less than a handful of people to sit down and just say, between me, Nordin, so and so, now let's just, be realistic. How many votes does who have, who can, and then this is our presidential candidate. If they cannot even do that, but then they keep complaining that, there's pressure here, there's pressure there. I mean, for instance, why can't you all then decide to break this One Kenya Alliance and just vie? Everybody vies. You understand? Let Musalia Mudavadi come with his economic things that he wants to sell to us. Wavunje hiyo One Kenya Alliance. Sisi tujue it was just for show, just to threaten and intimidate, you know, even as we can have a team over here. And then they move forward. Because actually, what's going to happen in the next 3, maybe 4 months is that, you know, now they're the only people who are being coerced. Because they're the only people who are existing in some sort of units there. But in another 2 or 3 months, you know, and I really hope the likes of Martha Karua don't let me down. In another 2 or 3 months, the likes of the Limuru 3, the likes of, there will be another strong formation that we will not even be sitting here on prime time, on national television, talking about non-starters. Because One Kenya Alliance, those are non-starters. Ile tutaanza, tunapanga. Wacha tufanye, tunapanga. I mean, why can't you just be a doer? Sit yourselves down as a team. Pick a presidential candidate. Tell us what you're going to sell to us. Because as Nordin said, when we had the launch of, for instance, KANU, and they launched their presidential candidate, Gideon, it was KANU fresh. So what are you selling to the people? What is fresh? What are you really selling? You understand? So sometimes we also honestly need to take certain people in the level that they have placed themselves. These are not serious people. These are not serious presidential candidates. And it's so unfortunate that some of the serious presidential candidates, like I would say, you know, in my opinion, like Nkisa Kitui and the likes of those, are actually not taken seriously when we are taking the likes of Gideon Moi so seriously when he told us, KANU fresh. Fresh what? Fresh tomatoes, fresh corruption, fresh dictation. What is it that you're actually selling? So, and actually, as media voices and as people who get this kind of prime time, maybe we just need to start giving blackouts to these non-starters, including One Kenya Alliance formation, including any presidential candidate who cannot even get one theme. Take, for instance, the ODM presidential candidate. 1 week, you're telling us about Buy Kenya, Build Kenya. Then you realize this one is not speaking. The next week, you start telling us what? Or we are now going to do Azimio la Sijui Umoja, what. Somewhere in between there, you are also saying that now maybe perhaps we need to start fighting corruption. You don't even know what your theme of your campaign is, and yet you want to be taken as serious as people who've understood the ideology they're pushing, as people who've understood exactly what they're pushing, that is a bottom-up economic model, as people who've gone as far as forming regional economic blueprints. How can you be competing with amateurs, honestly?
Thank you, Gloria. At least we're glad that, you know, ANC SG, Simon Kamau is right here. Simon, I know you really want to respond to Gloria's first sentiments before we went for a short commercial break about ANC holding a PG in one language. But first, before you answer her, you'll get a chance. But first, before that, what is ANC's role in One Kenya Alliance? What are you doing there? Are you comfortable, or are you disgruntled, or are you being coerced, as Aiden Dwala said, to support Raila Odinga?
Thank you, Lincoln. I may forget, if you allow me, with the indulgence, let me just respond to my sister, Gloria.
Sure.
Gloria impresses me as a very brilliant young leader, but it's very sad that she can't get her facts right, because when you dismiss people who have served this nation in very, very high offices, if you look at, for example, someone like Kalonzo Musyoka. Kalonzo Musyoka has been a vice president. He has served as Minister of Foreign Affairs. He has served as MP for, I think, Mwingi or somewhere for almost 25 years. If you look at someone like Wetangula, Wetangula has served as Minister of Foreign Affairs. He's a current senator. He's a party leader. We just came from a National Delegates Conference for Ford Kenya, where he was endorsed as a presidential flag bearer. If you look at my party leader, Musalia Mudavadi, he has served at the age of 27. He was a minister for marketing and supplies. At 33, he was a minister for finance. He has been minister of local government, deputy prime minister. He's been vice president. Now, Gloria, you know, as an upcoming leader who
Incoming member of parliament
impresses me to have a smart brain, I would encourage you to do a little bit of background check when you're on national TV before you start calling people non-starters, because then that means you don't know what you want in terms of inspiration. I mean, what do we want as young people? It's leaders that can impress us. You know, at my age, if at my age Musalia was a minister of finance, I would think vijana huko nje wataulizana mazee, this guy at 27 he was a minister, at 33 was minister for finance. That is impressive. And in mentorship, that is what we call inspiration. Because part of leadership is inspiration. You want someone that can inspire others. What role do you think, what is the biggest achievement of Obama in his 8 years presidency? Inspiration. He came and said, told people, yes, we can. There is hope that you can. Your dreams are valid. Sometimes all young people need is inspiration. And by the way, young people don't want a government that will come and do stuff for them, feed you, give you money. They want a government that cares. They want a government that creates an environment for them that they can thrive. Are you together? And that is exactly what we are offering as ANC. Coming to your question on One Kenya Alliance, I would tell you that it is a very young coalition that we are trying to nurture and see how to move forward. And I find again my sister here trying to bastardize us, to dismiss us, which again is very sad, because in a multi-party democracy, you have to give room to everyone. And even if you don't disagree with me, oh, please kindly don't kind of brush me off. You know, that is the nature of democracy, you know. And so we are a coalition of like-minded parties. We have ANC, we have KANU, we have Ford Kenya, and we have Wiper. And what we are saying is we want to give Kenyans an alternative coalition, an alternative force. If you allow me to use this media term of a horse, because the people are saying it's a two-horse race. We want to bring a third horse. As to who we are going to nominate for to fly our presidential flag, it's a matter of time. And I can tell you, Lincoln, in another 2 or 3 months, you will see things shaping up. Again,
is that when we should expect?
That is yes. That is
and
when
I say non-starter, and when I say non-starter,
you could kindly protect me from
Gloria, just a moment. In 2 or 3 months' time, when are you saying that is when we should expect One Kenya Alliance to announce?
It could probably be much earlier. If you look at all our principles and party leaders, Musalia Mudavadi is arguably the most formidable. We are persuading our partners. We are talking to them. We are lobbying them. We are trying to show them even the value of having Musalia Mudavadi as the flag bearer for Oka. We are even trying to show them the value we bring on the table in terms of numbers, in terms of experience, in terms of acceptability across the board, in terms of preparedness as well, because we believe Musalia Mudavadi is more prepared than all these people to take over after Uhuru Kenyatta. So I think it's an issue of also young people getting into some serious sort of research, not to come on national TV and then you speak as, you want to be a member of parliament, yes. You come on a national TV and then you speak when you don't have facts. It's very sad. Because
the fact is it a fact that One Kenya Alliance does not have a presidential candidate?
The fact is...
That is a fact.
It's a fact.
Yeah, that's a fact, because he's saying that young people are coming here to speak without facts.
Gloria...
It is a fact that One Kenya Alliance does not have a presidential candidate.
Gloria, no.
We'll come to you.
No, but don't, those are facts.
Simon,
Simon,
let me ask you, Simon.
Those are facts.
As One Kenya Alliance, are you going to willingly front a candidate as your flag bearer for the presidency, or are you being coerced to support someone who is not part of One Kenya Alliance? Are we going to see a Raila Odinga entry into One Kenya Alliance?
First and foremost, Lincoln, I don't speak for Oka. I speak for the ANC. Under our constitution, I'm the spokesperson for ANC. And from my party's point of view, nobody can coerce my party leader to support anybody, because it is not his individual decision to make whether he's running or not. It's a party decision. So if anybody wants to coerce my party leader, he has to coerce the 3 million of us at the ORPP to change our position. Because the party structures, through the party constitution, has already endorsed him as a flag bearer. So he cannot come and just tell the Amani Council, our party structures, that he has now changed his mind. It's not his decision to make. It is the decision of the party. Are you together? And so it's anybody saying he's being coerced or he's not being coerced or what. For me, I have not heard that anybody, the president called him, but I'm aware there has been efforts by some quarters, particularly former NASA principals, and in particular probably Baba, trying to beg us and tell us, could you please support me again? And we are telling him, our people, Our supporters are tired of carrying you on their backs.
Please allow me
Could
to cut
you
you
also
short.
come and support us?
We have less than
Lincoln,
4
I
minutes
have
left.
to- I
We
really
have less
have
than
a
4
right
minutes
of
left.
reply.
I want us to look.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. I want us to look at presidential hopefuls' promises to Kenyans. Let's take a look.
Zidi mwaka moja, miaka miwili, tutakuwa tumelipa madeni yote ambayo yanadaiwa nchi hii.
Shika usukani, ushuru utapunguzwa up to 50% of the current burden you are carrying.
We're going to ensure that each and every Kenyan family that does not have a source of income will get a transfer of 6,000 shillings per month.
4 million young people do not have jobs. We must get them jobs. And it is our duty.
Jobs, hundreds of billions, 6 million shillings a month. Newton, 1 minute to wind up. Final thoughts.
Allow me to say this as a wind up. You know, since we're speaking truth without fear, that's the tagline. Last time I checked, unless we changed.
We haven't changed.
So, and you know,
we're
I come
still
from
strong.
a school of thought where I keep telling you this unless you forgot. My political mentor is Thomas Sankara, and for any young man out there looking for a mentor, look there, don't go to Oka. Free and fair advice. I'll tell you for free, because my brother here said, he talked about how people should look up to them. Let's be honest. The coalition in Oka is bargaining for a prize, and the prize has not been met, and that is why they are there. It is okay, and I say more power to Moses Wetangula. His dreams are valid. He has just said they are from endorsing him. That is fine. But at the end of the day, we need to be serious as we're discussing the nation, all right? My brother talked about how they've served 30 years, whatever. It's not the number of years of service. What is the deliverance? What have you done? What can you go and pinpoint? This is my achievement, all right? Because at the end of the day, we keep talking about don't elect thieves. But you have to realize that no one in that top leadership, everyone has a scandal.
Everyone has a scandal.
Let me just finish. From Kazi ya Vijana to Yatta Land Farm to a cemetery in Langata and to an embassy being sold.
Your minute is over, Nodin Gloria.
I'm only going to speak facts.
Okay.
The fact is, One Kenya Alliance does not have a presidential candidate. Another fact that I have to educate SG today is a non-starter is a person who fails to participate in a race. The bell already rang like a year ago, and One Kenya Alliance does not have a presidential candidate, so therefore they are a non-starter. That's what I meant. The other fact is that until we see the presidential candidate and the manifesto and the ideology that One Kenya Alliance is going to push, it remains a project of Uhuru Kenyatta and his succession politics. And then lastly, we are here talking about young people. You're pushing us to, and I love that you've said Thomas Sankara is your mentor. By the way, just a fun fact, Thomas Sankara and William Ruto share a birthday. You can go and check that, and that is a fact. That's a fact. So for young people right now, what we are pushing is that we finally get to sit on that table. And the fact is, ANC has the SG, one, because he is young. That's one of the benefits that he is there. So at the end of the day, we are truthful, we are factual, and One Kenya Alliance is a non-starter.
SG, a minute.
Thank you, Lincoln. And for young people watching us out there, the first thing that probably I would say as a parting shot is that we must come out, we must avail ourselves, and be willing to be teachable, be willing to be mentored. Because part of maturing in leadership is allowing yourself to be mentored. And you can only be mentored under a shadow of a leader that you either admire or that you feel is of the same school of thought like yourself. Otherwise, even the scripture says in the book of Proverbs, of what importance or use is zeal without skill. We find that we have young people like Gloria here who have a lot of zeal, who have a lot of energy, but they lack the skill, they lack the guidance, they lack that part of being mentored and slowly being put on the pedestal.
Really?
Because being young itself is not a qualification for you to be involved in leadership. You must also have much more and offer much more than that. As One Kenya, as ANC, we are saying we want to work with young people. We want a working economy. That is why we say uchumi bora and we say pesa mfukoni. Because we want a working economy, inclusive growth, and involving young people in leadership and in participation.
Thank you, SG. Thank you, SG. Thank you. And now, on our political quote of the day, in politics, what begins in fear usually ends in failure. Samuel Taylor. coverage. The views described on this show are strictly individual views and do not portray the views of Switch TV. The conversation continues next Thursday. Good evening.